But they prepared stuff, and they know kind of where that is anyway. You
Yeah.
know,
And then we're
it's
so
just
sorry.
it's for reference. You know. I may help bring people in.
Okay. What time did
Well,
you?
the drums are good for 30 minutes,
Okay.
but you don't have to
But we don't
sit
have
here
to
the
sign
whole
the
time. No, 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 not at all. But I just want to make sure y'all got some seats here. You know what I'm saying?
And so what time does this end?
It's from 8. It's starting the formal start at 8, and then it will probably
One bright morning when my work is over, fly away home. One bright morning when my work is over, I must a Bangala, make a Mukasa, shall fly away home to Zion. One bright morning when my work is over. Peace and love shall ring around the world, and you and I shall only know true love and peace and happiness. One bright morning when my work is over. Fly away home. Yeah. Can you hear the voice of the Rasta man say, Babylon, your throne, go down, go down. Babylon, your throne, go down. We thank everybody for coming out this afternoon, this evening. So give yourselves a round of applause. We are nature's drummers, and it's our pleasure to share with you just a little bit of rhythm and rhyme. Because when it's all over with, we don't want to see people sleeping on the streets in Nashville no more. We don't want to see people on the corners of Nashville begging for bread. When it's all said and done with, we want to see Nashvillians prosper. We want to see everybody having a good life. You know, because so many of us are struggling down here in this city. You know, we've been priced out of the city. The rent is like here. Foreign invaders came in, took over, and just said, we're gonna do what we want to. So we need representations that's gonna affect us common people. Us people that mean something to one another. You see, the power is in loving one another, y'all. The power is in loving one another and sharing harmony. You know, sharing the peace. But so many of us, I need to see what's in my pocket. I gotta fatten my pocket up, so. But you can't be a real Rasta man without speaking about the things that is. Cause one bright morning when my work is over with, I don't have to worry about my child going to school and worrying about if they're going to get shot or not. You see, we saw it happen all over the other places, but then we never thought it would happen in a Christian school here in this town. I got a 5-year-old that got to go to school. Do I want to worry about that? You see, one day when my work is over with, I don't have to worry about, can I feed the homeless? The homeless is gonna feed me. That's how the turnaround needs to be. Give them encouragement to want to get up and do something for themselves instead of the handout. But we so busy to do it like this at the interstate. I didn't see nothing. Did you see anything? But I'm all for the arts because the arts make us breathe, make us want to dance, make us want to draw, make us want to live. And y'all artists know what I'm talking about, huh? Because one bright morning when my work is over with, I will fly away home to Zion. But until then, I'm going to play my drum like yesterday, and the day before, and the day after that, and the day before that, and the day coming, yes? Because one bright morning when my work is over, I'm coming. One bright morning when my work is over, peace and love shall ring around the world. You and I shall only know true love and peace and happiness. One bright morning when my work is over, starvation shall be a word of the past because you and I will see that all of the people are fed. One bright morning when my work is over, I'm away home. Peace and love. Peace and love. Peace and love I give to you. Peace and love. Thank you. need you all to say this. Ife Tayo. Love brings happiness. We just got our time to say it's over with. But I want to say, Ife Tayo. Love brings happiness. Love brings happiness. Ife Tayo. Ife Tayo. Love brings happiness. 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 Love brings happiness.
Hello. It's really an honor to be here. Thank you for having me. Also, thank you, Baba Musa and Nature's Drums. That was badass. My name is Alex Wong. I'm an artist and a creator in Nashville. I've been here about 9 years. I'm really grateful to the city for giving me space to create and to tell my stories, and I'm grateful to Metro Arts for asking me to be part of this event. I think I'm really looking forward to hearing from all the candidates tonight, as I'm sure all of you are. And the issue of arts equity is really quite personally vital to me. I feel really lucky to have gotten some funding from Metro Arts to be able to share more of my stories in town and work on a project called More Than a Menu, which is a nonprofit advocacy group which aims to share the stories of the people behind a lot of the Asian restaurants and Asian food that we have in town. There's a lot of love for the food here, but sometimes there's a disconnect to the stories of the people and where the people came from and what led to this rich contribution to this place we live, and I can't stress enough how important that is to me. In the arts, hearing those stories is transformative. And as a kid, a lot of the stories that I heard growing up and things I saw in the movies and media were examples of people that looked like me. We were allowed to be sidekicks, to be buddies, to be punchlines, and it was hard to feel permission to take up my own space with my own stories. So that starts with creating those opportunities and candidates who are courageous enough to kind of push through some of the systemic barriers that keep those stories from being told. So I just want to, this isn't a, there's going to be a lot of talking tonight, so I'm going to stop. But I want to share a song that I was asked to play, and I want to give it to anyone who's ever struggled to take up space with their own story, their own voice, or their own body. Here in the dark, where everything starts, cradled in the swirling waves, there is a spark from the tiniest heart, saying what it's supposed to say. You have permission, like a fire filling up a room, like a flower when it starts to bloom. We do what we're built to do. All of this time made yourself small, folding and folding, nothing at all. Don't believe what they told you. Nothing can hold you and nothing is hidden. Scream it out loud, let your voice crack, cut through the silence and take it all back. You can take up space, you don't have to wait for it to be given. You have permission. Here in the sun, all the fortunate ones, born into something to say. Keep your head down, don't make a sound. Follow the rules of the game. You have permission, like a siren on the avenue, like a mirror when it tells the truth. My love, there was nothing to prove. And all of this time made yourself small, folding and folding, nothing at all. Don't believe what they told you. Nothing can hold you and nothing is hidden. Scream it out loud, let your voice crack, cut through the silence and take it all back. You can take up space, you don't have to wait for it to be given. You have permission. You have permission. Okay, I am going to tell you a secret about this song. And that is, I always wanted to sing when I was a little kid, but I didn't feel like I had permission to do it and to take up that space and make that noise. And so my body kind of internalized that. And when I try to sing, my throat would constrict so much that I would just kind of croak and make this kind of like squeak. And then I'd get more embarrassed and I'd get smaller and shrink more. So I wrote a hack into this song. I wrote a part that was intentionally too high for me to sing so that my voice would crack when I tried. So I want to do that for you now. But I'm going to invite this room of arts leaders to let your voices crack with me. It's real easy. You have permission. Oh, 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 you have permission. Oh, you have permission. You have permission. Here in the dark, where everything starts,
Cradled in the swirling waves, there's a spark from the tiniest heart saying what it's supposed to say.
Thank you very much. And let me please introduce Cynthia Harris, who is going to MC this evening.
Hello, Nashville. How you doing? Talking about, I am one of those very, very, very rare humans who was born and raised in Nashville. As a matter of fact, I was born at Hubbard Hospital. Anybody remember that? All right. I know, right? So first thing I want to do, I want to thank our DJ. Did y'all have fun out there? Jason Eskridge, thank you so much. We are going to hear from him again at our after party. I don't know if you got a chance to see some of us wobble for a cause, but social justice does not happen without music and dance. I just want you to understand that. I also want to say thank you to Baba Musa and Nature's Drums. And I want to thank the brilliant and wonderful Alex Wong for giving us permission. So again, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the 2023 Arts Equity Mayoral Candidate Forum. Thank you so much for being here tonight, y'all. We thank you for joining us in making sure that Nashville's next mayor is committed to equity and increased funding for all artists and organizations represented in this room. Now, I've told you that I'm a unicorn. I'm from Nashville, but I did not tell you my name. My name is Cynthia C. Harris, and I am one of your co-hosts for this event. And I'm going to tell you about your other co-host in just a second, because, baby, she is something fierce, okay? But the first thing I want to do, I thought about all these things, and I'm from a public health background, so you know I have data and numbers up here. But I'm also very, very much an artist, a working artist in Nashville, and I'm very proud to be that. But I'm here today because the arts have saved my life time and time and time and time again. There are two moments I want to highlight in this moment. As in my life, I am having a very full circle moment. One, a very bright young woman who had gone away at the age of 17 to Florida A&M University on an academic scholarship. Rattlers, thank you, love you out there. Oh, something happened called sophomore year. And that 3.0, 3.4 dropped to a 0.17. That's not even one. You notice that's not a full point. 0.17 sound familiar, don't it? All right, some of y'all will get it. We'll talk about it later. That's okay. That's all right. Trying to get that 0.17 to a 1. Okay, well, don't worry about it. So I'm there, and I have what I found out later was a very common experience for young people in college. I'm a first-generation college student. My parents packed me up, drove me 9.5 hours down, brought groceries for my mini fridge, and left me. They didn't know what else to give me or to say, but they knew I was smart and that I would figure it out. Once I experienced deep depression, all those things that happen as young people, who am I? What am I gonna be? Do I matter? How do I do this? Am I gonna make it? What's gonna happen? I withdrew from everything. I slept all day. I did not attend class. And what I knew to be true is that my working class parents, for them, this was my shot. And I what about my shot? Not giving up. Y'all ain't gonna help me. Thank you. Thank you, Hamilton fans. I appreciate you. It was a little slow in the delay, but that's okay. That's okay. That's just mine. I avoided so many classes, but the one thing I did do regularly was attend traditional West African dance classes. When I came back home that summer following my sophomore year, it was the Village Cultural Arts Center featuring the musicians that you saw earlier today that pulled my soul back together and put me in my body and reminded me that I had purpose, that I would be okay, and everything would be just right. There was another moment this year. My mother became ill in February, and we lost her on April 4th, 2023. It was my arts community that came together and surrounded me. It was a few folks who are here with me today from Actors Bridge Ensemble, a theater company that's been around for over 25 years, that in its early stages saved the founder, Valley Forrester, as she walked her mother through her cancer journey. Valley graciously said, "Let me produce this event for you. Let me help you give your mother the celebration that she deserves." And because I could not speak, I could not make decisions, I was utterly lost, this community fed me, they held me, they sustained me, because I matter to them and they matter to me. So if the arts have saved your life, yesterday, a couple years ago, make some noise. Hallelujah. Now, as I said, I am a co-host because if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, you do it in community. And if the stars line up with some beautiful, gorgeous community, you might be able to go far and fast. The co-host that I want to tell you about, it's been a joy to work with her. We got together for the purpose of this. I didn't know Christine Hall before. Christine, if you just want to stand or raise your hand. If you got an email from Christine, that's her. We had so many documents open at one point, we realized we had the same initials and we were confusing the heck out of each other. We're both CH, so we fixed it. But again, without Christine's passion, drive, her commitment to the arts in Nashville, we took turns getting on the soapbox, preaching to each other as a choir, and I knew that that was my person. That's my girl right there. It's been an honor. This would not be happening. We would not be in this room without Christine's fire. Thank you. And as I said, if you want to go far and fast, a few things need to be in alignment. There's a little bit more alignment. We've got some new leadership at Metro Arts. Our brother Daniel Singh came on the scene for us. I remember meeting him, and I had something smart I was going to say, and all that came out was, "I just want to pray over you. You got a lot of work to do." And he turned and made sure, he said, "No, we got a lot of work to do." So I thank you for coming in and hitting the ground running with dedication, all of the planning that's been happening at Metro Arts that I've been able to be a part of, finding my way to participate, finding my voice. Thank you for doing that with us and letting us know how dedicated you are to Nashville. We also have to acknowledge all the co-sponsors for tonight's forum. Over 100 organizations and individual artists signed on in support of a forum focused on arts equity. So if you are one of those co-sponsors, again, make some noise. You gave us feedback, you submitted questions, you shared your priorities, some of them being funding Metro Arts at 1% of the combined Metro and MNPS budget. That's roughly $30 million. And that reference to the 0.17, we want to get to at least 1 as just a beginning. We want our candidates to know that. Create a dedicated funding source that's not susceptible to changes in leadership. How about that? That's what our co-sponsor said. Employ restorative policies and practices as we reinvest in artists and communities of color. We also said we need space. We need to live. We need to work. All of our locally owned venues are changing. How many different places where I saw concerts and shows and performances as a teenager growing up here are not there anymore. When the next crop of artists, when our agencies want to build, when we want to have our first annual something, where are we supposed to go and make that happen? We need places to create, places to share our work. We need equitable healthcare access. They also said we need substantive grant support. We don't want to just think of it as gigging and part-time jobs. Why can't I have my full livelihood if I'm giving my life to the arts? And if we had to justify our ask, we could do so easily. Consider the following information. Metro Arts Grants shared with us through their support that $429 million in total impact for Davidson County from arts and culture organizations and your audiences. Y'all did that. $288 million in annual spending from residents and vendors for your arts and culture events. Over $19 million in local revenue generated from spending by your arts organizations and all of us in here as artists. We did that. I also want to talk about one of the things that is really moving to me and has been interesting as I play with numbers and look at things and consider the data and the statistics. If we give young people, like the young ladies in Act Like a Girl, a taste for the arts, for performance, for doing improv or comedy, if we do theater, if we dance, if we paint, once they follow that passion and seek training, it turns out that 25% of us decide we can't stay here to practice our art because this city does not support us in our livelihood as artists. So all I want to say is, Nashville, if you are ready for a mayor that supports equity in the arts, go on and make some noise one more time. Because your next mayor is in the room tonight. All right? So we've got some fabulous candidates for mayor coming up. And I'm just going to read everybody's name and let you know who's here. We have Natisha Brooks, Heidi Campbell, Matt Wiltshire, Sharon Hurt, Stephanie Johnson, Freddie O'Connell, Vivian Wilhoite, and Jeff Yarbro. Also invited tonight were Fran and Jim Gingrich. Yes. Artists are always ready. There you go. Candidates, I want to bring to your attention that we have a lovely local artist and volunteer tonight serving as your timekeeper. Her name is Michelle. Michelle, raise your hand. So if you will please do her the honor of respecting the time on that card, and when sis says 30 seconds, she means it. Thank you. We also have a wonderful, amazing moderator, Judge Sheila Calloway. I'm sorry, I'm black and southern. It says Sheila Calloway. Judge Calloway, I just can't say your first and last. It's just too much honor and praise for all the things you do. I just got to give you your respect, Judge. Another Southerner, a native of Louisville, Kentucky, came to Nashville in '87 to attend Vanderbilt University Law School. She received her Bachelor of Arts degree in Communications in 1991 and her Doctorate of Jurisprudence in 1994. After graduating from law school, Judge Calloway worked at the Metropolitan Defender's Office in the adult system as well as the juvenile system. But in January of 2004, she was appointed by Judge Betty Adams Green to the position of Juvenile Court Magistrate and served in that position until November 2013, when she announced her intention to run for the position of Juvenile Court Judge. All the changes you've made, all the things you do, that you know about restorative arts in the justice system, and you preach it, and you walk it, and you talk it. Thank you, sister. Judge Calloway was elected in 2014 and was sworn into office for her 8-year term on August 28th, re-elected for another 8-year term in August of 2022. Judge Calloway also serves as an adjunct professor at Vanderbilt University Law School, where she teaches trial advocacy, and an adjunct professor at Belmont College of Law, where she teaches juvenile law. So not just service, but dedicated to education and to make sure that who comes after her knows the shoulders that they stand on and the shoes they need to fill. Thank you so much for your time. You will see me again. I turn it over now to you, Judge Calloway. Thank you.
I'm just a little shorter, just a little shorter. I appreciate those remarks and everything. I'm super excited about being here. I can say the same. The art saved my life as well. The art saved my life as well. When I was out here and I was thinking about what my opening remarks would be about, all the partnerships that we have made with Juvenile Court and all the arts that come and take care of our youth. I was going to name them. I was going to start with global education, Southern Word, and then I said, you know what? There's like a whole bunch of them. I'm going to forget somebody. So I'm not going to name everybody that we work with, but I am just so excited and proud that we are here today to talk about arts equity and to make sure that everybody on this stage absolutely understands the importance of art, the importance of arts equity, the importance of restorative practices, and the so much importance of supporting all of our artists within the community. I will give a big shout out. I am too an artist. I will give a big shout out to the National Repertory Theater that gave me my first professional opportunity to perform in the play Violet. And so I think I saw a few of them out here earlier today. And so, I almost quit my day job. But they said, no, it's too hard out here. It's too hard for us artists. And that's why I'm here, to make sure it's not that hard for our artists on a regular basis. So I will remind each and all of the candidates that although I am an artist and I love to sing and I love to act and I love to be just in the space, that I'm also a judge, and I also really do know how to cut people off. I did not bring my gavel with me, but I have a gaveling voice. And when I see the sign time limits, I will definitely cut you off. So I cut you off in love, because as I told Christina when she first called and asked me about doing this, I was like, absolutely, I'll be there. And she said, it's gonna be at 8 o'clock. We're gonna go to at least 10. And I was like, well, wait a minute. I gotta be on the bench tomorrow. And so I gotta go to bed at some time tonight. And I know a lot of the artist lifestyle starts way after I've already started my bench work. And so I'm gonna make it work. And I told Christine I'm gonna tell my boss tomorrow, which I guess is the voters, that I might be tired because I'm supporting the arts, and that's why we're here. All right, so that it's not about me, let's get this party started. Let's get this party quickly. All right, so I'm gonna first start off and make sure that everyone understands. I will be asking 3 questions for all of our candidates to answer. 3 questions for all of our candidates to answer. You will have exactly 1 minute for this first question. I am going to call on you in a random order that was pre-selected, so it's not the person that I like the most or the person I like the least or the person that can sing the best. None of that. It's just a random selection of who goes first, okay? Are we ready? Are we ready? Let's get this party. All right, number 1, Nashville's arts community asked for right-sized funding at 1% of the combined Metro MNPS budget. I'll repeat that. Nashville arts community asked for right-sized funding at 1% of the combined Metro MNPS budget. What is your plan of action for achieving this? And we'll start with the lovely Miss Sharon Hurt.
Good evening. Thank you so much for that question, and thank you for having us here. All of those good things and attributes about our moderator, I have those too because we are birthday twins.
We are birthday twins. Your minute, come on.
So my minute is easy because I've already done it, and that is requested that we put that money in this year's budget. Now, that doesn't mean that it's going to happen. And arts didn't save my life as much as it is my life. Amen. And it has been all of my life. The first time I went to the council was to speak up for the Arts Commission, and I have been ever since. I'm currently the chair of Public Arts Facilities and Parks. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Vivian Wilhoite.
All right, you got this? Are we right here? Well, first let me start out and say I'm Vivian Wilhoite. I came here 40 years ago to Nashville, Tennessee. I am your current assessor of property and a 2-term council member from 2003 to 2011. I've always supported the arts, and I will support the art. Elected me as mayor, I will continue to support the arts. When you ask the question about the 1%, I say, why not more? Why not? Why not more? So it may not be enough, but I will support that 1%. If we can support sports in Nashville, Tennessee, we can support the arts. Thank you.
Natisha Brooks.
My name is Natisha. They call me Natisha R. Miss Brooks. Educator, homeschool educator, and 30% of our curriculum is the arts. If you follow me on social media, you'll see that we have been everywhere, every continent except Antarctica, discovering the arts. 1%? Absolutely not. More. All roads lead to mental health. There's $250 million that Governor Lee has attributed for mental health. For arts, I say let us have $20 million of that $250 million so that we, artists, can have a place to live, pay, to park, to play. Absolutely not. You artists will not have to pay to park to entertain us here in Nashville.
Jeff Yarbro.
Good evening. I'm Jeff Yarbro. I've been serving this city in the state senate for the last 9 years and am asking for your vote to be the next mayor. So when we don't have a fixed percentage of arts funding, effectively what we're doing is we're cutting the arts budget. If it's not growing with the city, that means it's a cut. And I think we have to build in a fixed percentage and grow that to 1% as quickly as economically responsibly possible. And I'm deeply committed to doing that as your next mayor. Look, we have to decide whether Music City is just a plastic brand label that we slap on things, or whether it's an actual identity for our city that's baked into the DNA of what we do, and that means being able to have it in every classroom and artists being able to afford to live and create here, and it means that it can't be a privilege of the few, but something that's available to all of us. So that's what I'm committed to do as mayor.
Thank you. Heidi Campbell.
Hey there, my name is Heidi Campbell. I'm the former mayor of Oak Hill, current state senator. And I just think it's so strange that we have this discussion in our society, because arts it's inextricable from who we are. It's mental health, it's healthcare, it's education. We are all affected by the arts, and it's saved all of our lives. And so I will always support and always have supported the arts. I was on the board for Stepping Stone Theater for At-Risk Youth. I grew up in this exact theater because my mom was the director of the Nashville Children's Theater when I was growing up. And arts are absolutely an integral part of Nashville. And it's not just Music City. It's the visual arts, it's the symphony, it's the Frist, it's everything, and it's very much important in education. We have data that clearly shows us that we have better outcomes when we lift up the arts, and it shouldn't be an afterthought. It should be integral to everything we do.
Thank you. Matt Wiltshire.
Good evening, y'all. It's good to be here. The arts community shows up. Y'all showed up, and thank you for being here. This is our 754th Mayoral Forum. But we have not had a crowd like this, and I am honored and energized, even at 8:30 at night, to be here with you guys. So arts is vital, and you've heard that. We all agree that arts are vital. Nashville doesn't have mountains or beaches. Art is our beach. And right now, the beach is being eroded in Nashville because of the changes in our city. We need to keep our beaches strong. So we do need to work to move metro funding to 1% of the city budget over time. And as your mayor, I will make that happen. I'm Matt Wiltshire. I'm asking for your support. Thank you for being here.
Stephanie Johnson.
Hello. So in Burlington, Virginia, where Bernie's from, they divert 1% of their capital budget of any city development project to the municipal arts. I believe we can do that here in Nashville. We have tons of development. In my first 90 days, I'll be going to each metro department and asking them for a strategic plan to incorporate an arts impact statement. So NDOT has a strategic plan, and recently there was $60,000 taken out of their budget and given to an outside organization that they're asking back, so I do know that's possible. Also, arts is a $700 billion industry, more than sports, so the return on interest is really high, and I'll be getting all of our interests. Thank you.
And Freddie O'Connell.
Hi, everybody. I think all of our campaigns should request that our forums all start after 8 o'clock, that they all have food trucks and after parties with DJs. So I am here for this forum. And I am pleased to tell you, your voices have been heard. Because today, the chair of our Budget and Finance Committee on the Metro Council informed us all that we will be submitting on Tuesday night when we go in to vote on the fiscal year 24 budget that any of us up here who wins the mayor's race will start operating on in October. We'll have $2 million in new funding for the arts above the mayor's recommendation. This is a big deal. This only happened because of you. You stood together as a community, you told the city what our priorities were, and some of us listened, and we worked on it, and we're gonna get it done on Tuesday. And remember to tell Chair Kevin Roten, thank you.
All right, they did a pretty good job that first round. I didn't have to gavel anyone. All right, the second question, same rules. You have 1 minute, and I will call you up randomly. This question, how will you address the lack of affordable living, working, and performance space for those working in the arts. I'll repeat it again. How will you address the lack of affordable living, working, and performance space for those working in the arts? And we'll start with Matt.
Well, this one's an easy one for me because I've literally spent the last 3 years before I jumped in the mayor's race working on affordable housing. So my quick background, for those of you who don't know me, spent 15 years in the private sector and then worked in the mayor's office for 8 years under 3 different mayors. In 2019, I moved to MDHA after launching a very ambitious affordable housing plan to work on bringing more affordable and attainable housing for all Nashvillians. But one of the things that we worked on when I was in the mayor's office was Ryman Lofts, which is a great opportunity for artists to get affordable housing in the core of the city. We need more opportunities like this. And I've spoken with a number of the council members who are interested in seeing additional arts housing opportunities in the Antioch area in particular, so it's spread across our county. But there need to be more places, not just for artists to live, but places to work and perform and to perfect your craft. I'm Matt Wiltshire. I will work to make that happen. I need your help in doing it. Thank you.
Stephanie. I'm sorry, Steph. I'm cutting the last names just so we can be quicker. I figure y'all know it by now.
Okay, so we have the Barnes Fund, and I'll be asking for a strategic plan from that so we can ensure that we're diversifying the types of nonprofits we're funding, and also have a plan that speaks to art housing. Also, we've renovated old industrial spaces. I'll be sure that we continue to do that. Also, Metro has donated over 15 properties, and so I'm going to be integrating our affordable housing and Metro property low-income housing stock into a tracker in all districts so we can see what we have out there and continuously increase it. There also is a community arts stabilization trust in San Francisco. We can build one here where we take state, city, and private funding into this trust, and we grow it by property. Also, sitting at the table once a month at my mayoral roundtable, where I invite you to the table so we can continuously have these conversations once a month, so I know that I'm sticking to what I've promised you.
Freddie?
So, yeah, we've got to make sure people have places to live, people have places to create, people have places to perform and display, and that's going to be the job of the city in a city with increasing cost of living. So we will use all of the tools of the new housing division that exists in our planning department. We will use a new inventory that I helped fight for on the Metro Council of our public land and buildings so we know where we can build housing. We will use a brand new catalyst fund that is going to allow the private sector to come in and work with Metro on acquisition of land for some of these purposes. But we are also going to do something that every other city that supports its creative class offers, which is affordable ways to move around the city, because we are going to build a transit system that this city needs.
Heidi?
Thanks. And that's even with these. I talk to people every day who want to build affordable housing, and our permitting process is incredibly complicated and onerous. We need to streamline our permitting process. I talk about opportunity costs a lot, and that's specifically important here because, because we won't pay a living wage or a competitive wage to building inspectors or electrical inspectors, we incur these opportunity costs of not being able to incentivize builders to build affordable housing. We also need to look at public-private partnerships. We need to identify public land. We have a lot of public land. We need to get investments in that public land. And we also need to look at using our schools as affordable housing sites, because our teachers and our RTI instructors and our counselors are also getting priced out of Nashville. And lastly, we have to have a good, bold, and ambitious transit plan so that we can get people around Nashville.
Thank you. Sharon?
Thank you. So let me just say, People are telling you what it is that they are going to do. I'm telling you what I've already done. And I'm going to continue to do it because it is intentional for me. It has been my life. It will be my life. We can take empty buildings, empty schools, retrofit them to that. Take some shopping malls, put the space for musicians to play, perform, record, all of those things, and then they use the upstairs or the second, third, fourth stories of those malls for living spaces. I went to Chengdu, China to help them create their own Music City, USA. I'm telling you what I'm intentional about doing because it's what I've already done. Neighborhood stabilization program, I worked and put hundreds of families into housing. We must have affordable and attainable housing. I am committed. Check out my record.
Thank you. Jeff?
Right now, it can feel like our affordable housing strategy is to make people drive until they can afford something. And that doesn't work. We have to have a comprehensive plan about affordable housing and transit that are married together to deal with this problem and deal with it at a much bigger scale than what has been occurring in our city, and I think we all know that. But to deal with this particular issue, I think the next mayor needs to show leadership because I do think we have to be creative in how we are actually building creative spaces for artists. I would like to invest in what I think of as creative districts, where we are trying to intentionally grow spaces where there are affordable units married up with creative spaces, both for those in the music or the visual arts or filmmaking or writing, so that we are creating the space for people to create as well as the space to display their works. Finally, we should also look at an idea that they did in New Orleans for Musicians Village, where they even took care of retiring musicians and in a habitat-free managed facility. So.
Natisha?
It's funny, I can't raise money for myself, but I know how to collect checks for other people. The first thing I'm going to do as your mayor is for artists and entertainers to get rebate checks for the loss that you incurred during the COVID. That's the first thing. The second thing, the Titan Stadium passed, so we'll be going to the Titan Stadium owner asking for her check to pay to Nashville government for you to have housing and for you to not be able to park. And last but not least, if you want to bring your Fortune 500 company here, we need your check as well to the arts of Nashville government and to you. There is no Nashville without music. And without music, all of our mental health is in the toilet. 2 roads diverge in the Yellow Woods, and 2 checks we will collect from the Titan Stadium and the companies that will be coming here to Nashville.
And finally, Vivian.
Listen, people, for too long, politics have not been about you. Politics need to be about you. You're about the jobs. You need affordable housing. And it's about government coming together for you can realize what is the benefit they can give for you. So what we're going to do, we're going to create affordable housing. As the assessor of property, I've already identified 200 vacant properties. That's 2 acres plus. And we can begin to do some type of lease partnership with developers so that they can begin building affordable housing. Affordable housing is needed everywhere. Nashville is strong, but hasn't been strong for everybody. Hasn't been strong for you. So let's make this happen by voting for Vivian Wilhoite so that we can also commit more money to the bonds fund. We can also create affordable housing by not only public partnerships, but to also be able to invest in empty buildings, as you've heard some of my other colleagues have talked about, to transform them in places where you can live.
Thank you.
Thank you, and I ask you for your vote.
All right, good second round. Our third round, same rules, 1 minute. I will gavel you when your bell goes off, 1 minute. How do your policies support restorative justice by direct arts investment in under-resourced communities. I'll read it again. How do your policies support restorative justice by direct arts investment in under-resourced communities? We'll start that question with Freddie. Whoa.
Tell you what, be quick. I'll just do it this way. You're gonna notice for every forum I have a rule, always be prepared. This is my favorite question because it's related to what has happened in the past couple weeks. If you look at the underpass at Arthur Avenue, where historic Buena Vista meets Elizabeth Park off Buchanan Street, in a few weeks, Simone Boyd, an amazing community leader, is going to be able to start an arts project there, beautifying what was crumbling infrastructure. Just down the other end of my district, at Napier, we're going to have beautification along the interstate, where there was a sound barrier and other things because a powerful church community there decided that they wanted to beautify the community in conjunction with a lot of other things that are going on. These have already passed council. And finally, in my own neighborhood, we got affordable housing for seniors on top of a level that used to be My Canvas and is now Thrive Studios that is going to provide ongoing arts education for communities right across the street in Cheatham Place. We do this all the time at District 19. We're going to keep doing it.
I think they're coming to the rescue. All right. As they're changing out the mics, we'll bring up Stephanie. Stephanie's next.
Okay, so one of my plans is to work with the council members that oversee some of our under-resourced districts and ask them to leverage their funding as for their communities. Also, they're the leaders of those districts, so they should know the inequities in them, and I'll need them to help me see it. Also, I'll be visiting over 100+ towns in Davidson County, so I can go see the inequities myself and see where the funding needs to speak to. That will be my top priority. That'll be my top priority, not the last, because we're only as strong as our weakest link. Also, the greatest harm we've seen in this country has been slavery and the ongoing violence to that community. So I'll be working to create a Black historical neighborhood ordinance. And so basically, we'll be taking an assessment of the art decline in that community and creating a reparative justice overlay. And this is not enough. It's probably going to take my full 8 years to fully speak to restorative justice in this city.
Natisha?
One of the things I'd like to do as mayor, I find very interesting. We need more of our streets named after artists. History is good, but we would like to see more of our streets named after Tina Turner, God rest her soul. Second thing, we need to talk about the third grade retention. That needs to be revisited. If you want to talk about restorative justice, we have to talk about there's more ways to assess a child rather than a one-test wonder. The last thing that we need to do as far as restorative justice is our schools. There are too many schools. History is great, but I would like to see our schools named after musicians, after artists, after people that are in our community, people that are in our history of Tennessee. So that's what I would do as far as restorative justice, and then work our way through the Tennessee legislature to get the money to have it done.
All right. Matt?
This is a really painful question. Violence is a disease, and that disease is spreading in our city. And many of us on the stage, and I'm sure in this audience, have been touched by that disease. It is hard and it is painful. But the way that we can begin to immunize our society against the violence that has spread far too often with far too many people is through the arts. The truth is, and you know this, hurt people hurt people. And there are a lot of people who are hurting in our city right now. People who have been neglected, people who have not been given a fair chance, people who have not been served well by the systems in our city and in our society. And we need to invest, as you have, Judge Calloway, in restorative arts programs to give those who have been directly impacted by that inequity the
Matt.
power to recover.
Vivian?
Well, earlier when we were talking about affordable housing, what makes me motivated is my son. He's an artist. He's rap, trap art verb. Y'all may have heard him, maybe not. But that's his dream, all right? So when we're talking about affordable housing, I want him to have some place to go where he can aspire and dream and be the best that he could be. So that's my motivation in reference to that. I see you and him every day. When it comes to supporting affordable housing, when it comes to the issue in reference to restorative justice, we have to start with the very beginning, with children. We have to put programs in our community that's going to allow them the space where they can express themselves. We have to also make sure that we connect people up, whether they're bullies or what have you, so they can have the opportunity to understand why are they feeling that way. Those programs I would have put not only in our community centers, but also in our libraries. This is where we start, at the root of the cause. And I will promote that, including supporting education to make sure those programs are available in the schools. Thank you.
Jeff?
This starts with understanding the power of the arts. Judge Calloway started restorative justice in the arts for what it costs to incarcerate a juvenile for 1 year. And that's a program that touches hundreds of children across our city and puts them in a better place. If not, truly thousands. And we have to be building that into our system throughout Metro government. We know that when we create programs like Southern Word in schools, that we're giving a venue for our students to express themselves, to process emotions, to deal with trauma, to overcome those adverse experiences and transform them into something beautiful. And it's not a question of whether we can afford to do it. We really can't afford not to do this work. This is how we save money, it's not an expense, it's an investment in our future.
Amen. Heidi?
Nashville's an incredibly red-line city, and we have haves and have-nots here. And that has become even more apparent throughout the attack on Nashville that we're seeing from the state legislature. One of the ways that we can triage that inequity in a city where we know we're not going to see full funding for public schools anytime soon from our state is to hire community school coordinators in some of those schools where, in my district, Glendale is a school where parents put hundreds of thousands of dollars into that school, and so it does really well. Well, at Bordeaux, there are moms working 2 jobs and just trying to get by who can't do that. And so one thing we can do is hire community school coordinators in some of these schools. That's just one person whose day job it is to build community support and, yes, arts programs around those schools so that we can triage the inequities that we're seeing in our city.
And then Sharon.
Thank you. I think that the policy that I have is the best of us got to help the rest of us. And I think that the problem is not violence as much as it is lack. Because poverty anywhere is a threat to prosperity everywhere. That's why I created the instruments in the inner city for those kids who did not have the opportunity to play in the Nashville Symphony, because I didn't see people who look like me. That's why I got those kids from Cheatham Place and took them to MDHA and said, listen, when you build these apartments on Jefferson Street, I want to have some murals painted by these students for them to put up so they will be able to put their time into good use. I took those kids through a summer enrichment program that I had at Jump called LEAP, and took them over to Sony because many of them, like Vivian's son, wanted to be rappers. So I wanted them to meet the people who paid the rappers. So you got to introduce them, and I want to make sure that their families can get into the wealth that this city has.
Thank you. All right, you all did a wonderful job. Let's give them a round of applause for that first round. Now it's getting a little tougher now. We're in round 2. In round 2, you will each have 2 minutes to answer your question, which means I'm going to sit until about 30 seconds. And so when you see me rise, you should be ready to wrap up your statement. You all each very thoughtfully answered a questionnaire, and these questions are based on your individual answers. So you each have an individual question based on the answers that you filled out in your questionnaire, and you have 2 minutes to answer. We will start with Natisha. All right. Could you speak to the importance of arts funding and equitable distribution to community-based artists, independent artists, and arts organizations, specifically micro to medium-sized organizations?
Yes. This is one of the reasons why it is very important. This is the first election to the last election that is going to be the most important for you, me, our grandchildren, and our children's children. And that's what the good book says. We are to prepare for our children's children. You have to choose a mayor that is going to work well with the state legislature, that is going to be able to ask for the dollars for the state legislature. Currently, right now in Nashville, we have a bad vibe reputation between Nashville and the state, and the drama has to stop. We need to move on and be the leader in the urban city that Nashville can be, not just to this state, but to the country and to the world. Artists, we have people that come to Nashville because of you. Not because of anything else, but because of the entertainment business. So I will be asking Governor Lee, the speaker, and that's going to be difficult because this is an urban city and we are dealing with a supermajority, and I know best what the supermajority is. We have to ask for the money. And when we ask for the money, I'm going to specifically ask the governor to not place it into a general fund for the arts, but be very specific in where the money goes. Right now, $250 million is dedicated to mental health. Not one of us in here knows where that money is going. Well, we have 2 legislators up here. I might ask them afterwards. But where is the money? I am tired of people making their mouth fried chicken. It's time to put the chicken into the pot, make sure that it's cooked well done, make sure that we have our money into each part of the city, each part of...
Thank you, Natisha.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
I asked for your vote. I'm sorry.
All right, next we'll have Heidi, and you will have a 2-part question. What are your plans to establish protections for our creative workforce? And how would that focus create opportunities for affordable housing dedicated to working artists, below market subsidized path to ownership, equitable health care access, and substantive grant support, full livelihood versus part-time job, especially for artists working in collaboration with anti-violence, sustainability-oriented, community-building organizations? That was based on her answers now. I didn't write the question.
Could you repeat the question? No.
And that's 2 minutes.
2 minutes, you got it.
So all of this is connected. I mean, all of those things are connected. We can't have good arts programs without good education. We can't have good arts without transit. We can't have good arts without health care. All of these things, of course, are connected because art is a part of life. And so I think that the office of the mayor should serve as a venture catalyst. Not a venture capitalist, but a venture catalyst. And that means connecting opportunity with need. We have so many wonderful organizations like the Children's Theater, like the Nashville Symphony, and like our arts programs in our schools, the Nashville School of the Arts, that are already doing this work. And we have such amazing, phenomenal opportunities for funding from the federal government, from private grants, and none of these things ever reach people here because we don't communicate about it. And the office of the mayor should be a catalyst for that communication. The other thing that I think we need to do is to make our city more efficient when we're talking about the safety component of that question. Because the number one thing that a mayor does is public safety. Hello? Public safety. And that means IoT, that means investing in smart city technology. We have some places downtown that are already starting to build the backbone of that, but we need to continue to invest in that so that our streets are safe and our lights are coordinated. And then, I have answers to all these questions, but I want every single one of you to know that I have developed a policy plan because I think anybody who is running for mayor should tell you exactly what they plan to do on all of these issues. So if you go to my website, voteheidicampbell.com, that's voteheidicampbell.com, I have a whole policy platform paper on every single one of these issues, and I would also welcome you. My phone number's on there to call me if you have any questions.
Thank you. All right, Sharon, you're next. You too have a long question. I think it's based on the long answers. And it is a two-parter as well. So one of our co-sponsors commented, quote, "It's a shame Fisk University, whose Jubilee singers put Nashville on the map internationally, risked losing accreditation while the city began to enter into its city status. Despite lack of full funding from the state, and even now, attempts to take over the school by said state, the TSU Aristocrat Band just became the first HBCU with not one, but 2 Grammy Awards. Segregation led to the split up of American music." End of quote. How can we invest in underserved communities, especially North Nashville? And how can Nashville be that shining example to unite and show how investments in all parts of town lead to everyone's success?
You can do that by making the change that this city needs, and that is electing me as your next mayor. Because it is absolutely a shame. Because this city has just tolerated Black excellence, and it's time for them to celebrate Black excellence. Not only did the Aristocrat Bands win those 2 Grammy Awards, but they were on the White House lawn again yesterday as the first band from an HBCU to play at the White House. You go to this is Music City because of the Fisk University Jubilee Singers. We should be investing in this city and all of its artists and the music, because we are Music City. This is not the state, it's not Music City, Tennessee, but it is Nashville, Music City. It is up to us. So it's going to be the intentionality of the leadership in order to get that done. And I promise you, because this is what I have done for the past 25 years when I created the Jefferson Street Jazz and Blues Festival. bringing people together, the Bridge and the Gap mixer where downtown Nashville met uptown Jefferson Street. So I know that when I helped the National Museum of African American Music get the money that they needed to be downtown, I can tell you that the symphony and the museum were on the council floor the same night and got money. But the symphony was built, flooded, and rebuilt before they broke ground on the museum.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, Stephanie, you're up next. In your responses, you referenced a recent study in Nashville that showed 50% of council districts have no public artwork. What specific strategies would you employ to set and achieve goals for every district to have public artwork? And how would you engage those districts, communities, and artists to achieve your vision?
Right, thank you. So once again, I will be visiting all 114 towns in Davidson County. I think it's important for leadership to actually go out and see what's happening in our communities. Also, I'll have a night mayor. We have someone like that now, but their goal basically is to ensure the streets are clean and it's safe. Mine will be to expand the arts and speak to the needs of the city by tapping into untapped resources. Also, I did grassroots nonprofit development work for about 15 plus years. And so I would go into these organizations, board development, HR, funding, all these things. And so I'm used to helping grassroots nonprofits get the untapped resources that they need. Also, there's been ordinances that they put in other cities that every single project that is put out there has to have a public art piece on it, or it's paid into a fund so we can go and put public art somewhere else that doesn't really have it. Also, my mayoral roundtables, where I sit at the table in different districts and I talk to people about what's going on in their towns and communities so I can be held accountable. So one of my favorite nonprofits that I developed was called Lineage Dance, and they helped women who were suffering from Parkinson or cancer dance, and it was just so beautiful, but I saw how hard it was for them to be able to get the support they needed because they were smaller. And so I want to make sure that when we're giving out funding, that those smaller organizations can be in the fold as well and get that funding. So thank you.
Thank you. All right, Freddie, you're next. Try not to tear up any mics.
This one looks okay.
Cultural institutions, art galleries, theaters, and performance spaces breathe life into neighborhoods.
True.
They attract residents, tourists, and businesses, driving foot traffic and economic development. What are the strategies you would use or expand to increase funding for the arts that will help revitalize and restore our neighborhoods and make them more vibrant and attractive?
Yeah, so I stand here this evening as a former board member of the Belcourt Theater, and I know some of those folks are in the house. And this speaks to exactly what Judge Calloway was talking about. I mean, that enlivens Hillsborough Village, but it also has a connection to the schools and universities around it. I know Allison Inman is here and has worked on the outreach programs and education there. And that's a single institution, but it has citywide reach and it involves youth, and it's quite incredible. Did anybody in here happen to experience Build a Better Table a few years ago? It was an amazing program initiated by the Metro Arts Commission. And what it was not just one single built structure. It happened in places all over the city, like the Nashville Farmers Market, like churches in North Nashville. And it was equity-based. And it was amazing because it was largely publicly funded. There were a lot of sponsors, but that's exactly the kind of thing we can do when land is expensive. We can use assets that the community already has, and we can use a growing Metro Arts budget to support and sustain it. And that is the kind of program that when we connect it to programs that are supporting youth or programs like Porch that are turning more Nashvillians into creators than ever before and inviting them to participate, we create new performance venues where we weren't even thinking they existed. The places already existed, but we weren't thinking of them as creative spaces or performance venues, and that's exactly what I want to work on. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Vivian. How can we protect local ownership of arts and performance venues so that artists have access to the creative spaces they need to thrive and protect our city's heritage and culture? For example, a Music City Cultural Trust Fund would allow our city to own these properties and provide affordable, long-term leases for artists and creatives. Please explain what shape your support would take.
So to protect the spaces, we need to first identify the spaces. Let's get ahead of that. When we're talking about the spaces that's going to be used for local artists and ensure that you have these spaces that's available to you, it goes back to like creating affordable housing. Identifying the locations where these spaces already exist, getting ahead of that, and making sure that we put the money and put the investment in ensuring that they not only be refurbished, but they're also being used and also being provided for you to continue to use the space. Also protecting the spaces in reference to incentives. When the big businesses come here, in the past, we haven't really asked for anything. We need to not ask, but demand. They want to be here, yeah, but we need to demand not only for child care centers, we need them to provide into a fund, such as the example you gave, that will continue to allow you to have access to these spaces. Listen, I can't give you the answer to everything, but I will tell you this. I will invest in the arts. When I said that we're a city that can get behind all of these sports centers and all these sports entertainment and everything else that's coming here, it's not benefiting my people where I was a House representative out in Southeast Davidson. It's not benefiting Bordeaux. And it can't just benefit Jefferson Street. It's got to benefit everybody. So all I'm saying is that we need to start demanding that they do more when they want to come here. They want to come here anyway, so why should we give away the candy store? So this is what I would do. I will support the arts. This is easy, people. The arts has been a part of my life since I was a young girl. Growing up in Gulfport, Mississippi, taking pottery at the community center, wanting to do something different outside of my neighborhood that some of the other kids weren't even doing. Taking tap dancing. Yes, I took tap dancing.
Thank you, Vivian.
And I ask you for your vote. Thank you.
All right. All right, Matt, you got to follow that.
I can't. I yield my time. I just want to see the tap dancing, and
you can do it. I see it in you. All right, Matt. This city's arts budget has not kept up with the growth of the artists and arts organizations in Nashville, despite the growth of the city. Would you support subsidies for creatives and cultural frontline workers who bring tourism dollars and numerous other measurable benefits? And how would you answer the request, how would you answer the request for city-sponsored subsidies, ranging from affordable housing initiatives to discounted workspace and advertising in Metro-owned properties for individuals and organizations that significantly add to Nashville's art and cultural landscape?
Yeah, I think I've already answered this question in some ways already, talking about initiatives that we've already undertaken that we need to double down on. So Ryman Lofts as an example of providing housing specifically for artists in an affordable way in an attractive part of our city. we need to look at additional opportunities. And yes, I would absolutely consider subsidies. I am not making promises that there will be those. I will consider them, as I will each request, for important funding needs, for our public schools, for public safety. There is a big budget, and let me take one moment to provide some context on this. You all are looking to hire a CEO of a $3.3 billion organization with 56 different departments that do everything from support the arts, educate kids, issue library books, issue permits, and there are 17,000 employees. So you should be looking for someone who has executive experience at the local government level to be able to balance these critical needs that we have as a city. To have a better parks department that has better funding for maintenance that's been neglected for far too long. So I will absolutely consider subsidies if there's a return for the city on a program that makes sense. Because, as I said in the answer to my first question, artists of all kinds are the beaches for Nashville. If we don't have the incredible arts, music, visual arts, then we're just another town out there. And so making sure that we have the kind of city where artists want to move because we have the best performing public education system in the entire country, and making sure that we have a high quality of life, affordable housing, infrastructure to support that is absolutely vital. But we need to be specifically intentional about making sure that Nashville is a place where artists not only want to be, but can afford to live.
Thank you. All right, Jeff. I think you probably have touched on some of this as well. But how can we be intentional in developing creative districts across the city? And how could these districts provide physical spaces where artists can affordably live, be productive, and have their talent showcased? Would you support a special city-funded construction and/or purchase loan program for small to medium-sized performing arts operators to own and/or build their venues? And how might such a program be created and structured?
So yes. And I apologize to the visual artists. I'm a little red ring colorblind, but I'm watching you down here. So, actually, before I came here tonight, we had an event at Bagley's Fried Joint on 15th and Buchanan. And I think if that is actually a place where if you have not been to that area recently, you should. And you should do a tour of the neighborhood and see what's going on. One, you should go see Omari Booker's exhibit at Elephant Gallery either way. But you should go through some of the creative spaces that have been created along those blocks, because that is a place where we have seen what happens when you create a nucleus of creative spaces and artist spaces and hopefully affordable housing. And you can see how it has a positive impact across the neighborhood and then an impact that ranges across the city. And so another idea that I mentioned briefly earlier was Musicians Village, which is something they did after Katrina in New Orleans, where they designed a habitat community around individuals who were retired musicians, and they were artists in residence. And part of the way that they paid back was they taught the children who lived in the other affordable housing units their craft. And so we do this through city financing and city land, but we also engage in public-private partnerships. There are lots of people around here that make money on creatives, right? Mm-hmm. There's millions of dollars that come in here, but we need to see that investment coming back into the community and making sure that people can actually become creators here, that they can follow their dreams here, and that they can start meaningful, lasting careers here. And that's where the government has to provide leadership to get that done. Thank you, Jeff.
All right, let's give them all a round of applause. They did a wonderful job for second round. Woohoo! We got one more round. So just sit tight. We're going to survive. I'm going to sing a little Survive in a minute. But I'm going to listen you hear the questions first. I said that for you, Vivian. All right, here we go. This round, we again have 2 minutes for this round. Each candidate should answer the question and then make a closing remark. You have 2 minutes to first answer the question and to make your closing remark. Are we ready? All right. The question, will you commit to ending earmarks and always working through open calls for artists and other funding under your leadership? Y'all are looking at me puzzled, so I will say the question again. Will you commit to ending earmarks and always working through open calls for arts and other funding under your leadership? And we'll start with Vivian. 2 minutes.
Well, my answer will have to be no. As a mayor, it's my job to make sure that you are a priority, okay? Earmarks is there for a reason. Why not make you an earmark? Why not make arts funding an earmark? Because earmarks is there for a reason, people. That's why it's there. So we just do that. I'm going to say, yes, I will make Metro Arts an earmark. Why end it? For other important things that we need in this city, let's just make you an earmark. My name is Vivian Wilhoite. I'm another person. And I ask you for your vote. As I told you earlier, I came here from Gulfport, Mississippi over 40 years ago to attend Tennessee State University, the 2-time Grammy Award-winning Tennessee State University. And I met a fabulous man named Larry Wilhoite who rocked my world. We have 2 kids. One is an artist who is working really hard to get out of our house. He has 2 degrees. And one of the things that bothers me about Nashville is when they talk about banning the box, they didn't ban the box because my son made a bad mistake and hanging with the wrong friends. But it did not dictate his life in reference to what he's going to turn out to be, and he's doing damn good. So my point is this. As mayor, I'm just going to keep it real. I'm going to tell you what it is you need to know and not just what you want to hear, because need to know help you to make informed decisions. I'm going to work hard for you, and I will make Metro Arts funding an earmark. I ask you for your vote. I'm Vivian Wilhoite. Aunt Viv.
Thank you.
Elect me. Thank you.
All right, Jeff, you're up next.
We've been thinking short term long enough in Nashville. And one of the reasons that I think you do want to move away from the sort of earmark system is we should be making sustained investments. Because the sustained investment is what is lasting. It's what makes the commitment that we know that we need. And especially when it comes to this community and the arts community that needs to be built in Nashville, we have to have a long-term vision and a long-term commitment. As I said at the beginning, we can't let this Music City thing become a cheap brand. It has to be an identity, and that takes investment. That takes raising the budget for arts. And I commit to raising the budget for arts, and I want to see that go up each year that I'm in office because it's that critical, and I've got the record to back that up. Since joining the legislature, I joined the Tennessee Arts Caucus my first day. I've actually defended assaults against that funding from attacks, and there have been attacks. And even in this crazy year of that we just experienced with the state, we fought to get additional funding for a new performing arts theater in this city. And that is good news. I'm Jeff Yarbro, and I'm asking for your vote for mayor because we have to make this city work, and not just work for some people, it has to work for all of us. We have to be committed to building a city where people are safe, where we're educating our children, and where we're really doing the work of getting a handle on growth and making sure that our growth reflects our values. And one of the key values that makes this city who we are is our commitment to the arts and the creativity that's in our DNA. I will foster that as our mayor, and that's why I'm asking for your vote tonight and your support for the years to come.
Thank
Jeff
you.
Yarbro, and I ask for your vote.
All right, Sharon, you're up next.
Music, arts is the heartbeat of Nashville. The heartbeat is rhythm in itself. Nashville must have a budget that reflects the heartbeat of this city. And that will be a priority of mine because the arts is my life. It is your life. Nothing changes if nothing changes, and I am the change that this city needs. When you vote for me, you're voting for yourselves. Because I am that living experience that you all live every day that will walk the halls of City Hall. It is time for a change. And it's going to be up to you to ensure that that happens. I want to restore hope and prosperity on every block in every community like I found when I came here myself from Memphis, Tennessee. I brought my husband with me. Well, he was already here at Fisk University, but he's in the audience, and we've been married 41 years on Monday. So I just want to give him a shout out, Lovey. But I'm asking for your vote. Ask Lovey it is, that's his name. And the name speaks for itself, girl. That's why we got 41 years. And that says that I stick to it, that I will make it happen, that I am dedicated, and I am dedicated to this city because I've been in the trenches for 45 years, and I will do it as your mayor. I ask for your vote. Thank you.
Judge Calloway, can someone play her some walk-off music, please?
I know, right? I was going to give her extra 10 seconds on that comment. All right. Nat, you're up next. See if you can beat that.
Of course I am. So I'm after Vivian's tap dancing and that performance.
Right.
I'm ready to concede. And actually, Judge Calloway, I'm not prepared to answer your question. I don't know about earmarks specifically and the merit of open call versus earmarks. I'd want to talk to the staff at the Metro Arts Commission and the staff at Metro Arts and the incredible Metro Arts Commission. Look, I will tell you philosophically, I believe that everyone should be invited to have a seat at the table. We are stronger if everyone believes that they are engaged and has a seat at the table, but there may be some reasons that earmarks are appropriate in arts in certain situations, and so I'm not prepared to answer that question, but I can tell you this, that the idea that everyone having a seat at the table is not just true in the arts. It's not just true that if we all believe that we have a chance to participate and create a better life in Nashville in the arts, but it is also true in public education. It's also true in public safety and transit and infrastructure. We will have a better Nashville. I am running for mayor because our city is facing some significant challenges. Now, I'd rather be Nashville, honestly, than any other city in America. The challenges that we are facing are challenges that come because too many people want to be here, and that's a real issue. Come because there's too much growth here, and that's a real issue. But these are problems that come as a result of the incredible city that you all have helped build. We have an amazing city. And so if we are all invited to have a seat at the table, we can all come up with the best solutions to tackle the very real challenges that our city is facing. My name is Matt Wiltshire. I'm excited to be here today. I'd be honored to earn your vote. I hope you'll vote for me for mayor on August 3rd. Thank you.
All right, Freddie?
So you've probably heard it said before that a budget is a moral document. And it's supposed to be, but that means it's all of us. And you all helped with this budget already by speaking up. But the city goes through things, and sometimes we need to do things that are one-time expenses that it's incumbent upon both the mayor and the Metro Council to be able to explain. I've been part of a multi-year fight to try to save the Morris Memorial Building, and there is a discussion about that underway right now. It continues this Saturday. And that could be considered an earmark if it just comes through the budget process. Meanwhile, we've done participatory budgeting a couple times this term, and what it looks like to me is that we say, hey, here's $2 million, and we're going to make North Nashville go through a lot of cumbersome bureaucratic process to get what communities all around the rest of the city already get. That's tricky. So I would say I want to make sure that we together do the moral document process, and I'm going to be real transparent as mayor about what we're doing and why. So I grew up here. My name is Freddie O'Connell. I'm the son of a teacher and a songwriter who was also a federal employee. I grew up learning how to play piano at W. Smith School of Music, and it's a statement of arts equity in this city if there ever was one. This is fundamentally an election about priorities and preparedness, and I hope that over the course of this campaign, which I didn't just begin a few weeks ago, I started last year because we knew that we weren't getting the city's priorities in order to focus on us. I am trying to work with you all to build a Nashville for Nashvillians, fundamentally because my priority is you. And I hear almost every week, and have for months, that people are thinking of leaving Nashville, and I want you to stay. And that is why I'm running for mayor. My name is Freddie O'Connell. I'd love to earn your vote.
Thank you. All right, Natisha, you're next.
Natisha Brooks, Natisha R. Miss Brooks, Natisha Brooks 16 Twitter. I ask for your vote. I've waited all my life to see a Viola Davis, to see a Kerry Washington, to see someone that looks like me. I'm a proud HBCU graduate of the esteemed Prairie View A&M University. I've waited all my life to see a band such as TSU to make it to the White House. It should not have taken over 200 years for it to happen. I've waited all my life to see women have a seat at the table in terms of art, entertainment, and to fashion. We are the heart of entertainment. No pun intended, men. But women rule the world at some time or another. And sometimes the best job, and sometimes the best man for a job is a woman. I ask for your vote. I am a 33-year veteran teacher. I am currently retired, ready to go ask for the money for you to have grants, not for you to pay. I'm working on grants so that you can have a start in your career to make Music City the way it is from the future, the past, and now currently the present. I want to see one day that when we drive across Williamson County into Davidson County, that it does not say Music City, home of the Grand Ole Opry. It says Music City, home of the Fisk Jubilee Singers. We need Nashville to be represented of diversity, inclusion, and to also make sure that teachers have $70,000 a year to start, to make sure that, yes, say yes to teachers because this is where it starts, is education. My name is Natisha. They call me our Miss Brooks. I ask for your vote. Let's make history together. Send a teacher to the office of mayor.
Thank you. Stephanie?
So when I would go into my nonprofits and talk to donors, I would always say, stop earmarking your funds, because the nonprofits know better than you what to do with those funds. And so I've seen nonprofits, grassroots nonprofits, because I would only go and help them. I had a client who had bunk beds in his house because he was housing people off the street. I had a young woman named Katie. She was sewing clothes in her New York apartment to help women who are coming out of human trafficking. And so there's so many small organizations that are doing 10 times the work, and they don't always have time to come and get funds that they need. And so we have to reorient the way we give out funding to our community. And we don't need a CEO. We need a nonprofit executive that can hear the mental health crisis, that can hear the eviction rate, and that can hear that there's poverty in our schools. We need a human budget, not a business budget, a budget that speaks to people's needs. And the money should go to you because it's your money in the first place. No, Amazon should not be first for $2 million. Give everybody a basic income instead. And so make room for the things that inspire us. Make room for the things that grow us. We are shaking and baking to bring sports in this town, which is only a few times a year when art is every day of our lives. And so we will make the necessary investments to bring the vision of the life of arts to Music City and ensure that we're all in harmony. Thank you.
And last but certainly not least, we'll have Heidi.
Thank you. So I really appreciated that that we don't need a CEO. We need somebody who centers Nashvillians. We're facing existential crises right now. We're facing existential crises to our environment, to our democracy. You know, when we went through this Tennessee 3 moment in the Senate and the House this last session, we knew that was happening, and yes, light was shone upon it, but really, in a lot of ways, we're living in a totalitarian state. This F right here, this F is my rating as a state legislator from the NRA. And I'm really proud of this F, because we've got to stand up for the rights and the safety of our children. We've got to stand up for women's rights. And yes, we have to stand up against the slate of hate that is coming from our state government. And that may not seem like the role of a mayor, but I can tell you right now that that is absolutely the role of a mayor. You know, it is all related to one another. And yes, we have to make sure that we are looking out for affordability, transit, education, but we also have to use the role of the mayor to message that we will not stand for having our rights taken away from us in this state. And that really relates to our arts community who are finding themselves pushed out of our city. And we cannot let that happen because that is the very soul of our city. My name is Heidi Campbell. I am running for mayor because I love Nashville. VoteHeidiCampbell.com is my website, and as I said, I have a policy paper on my website I would love for you to look at, and I ask you for your vote.
So I think we did it. I think we did a wonderful job. We made it through all 3 parts, and we made it right in time, right before the party's supposed to start. So let us give a round of applause to all of our candidates. Just in case you forgot their names, we've got Vivian Wilhoite, Freddie O'Connell, Matt Wiltshire, Natisha Brooks, Heidi Campbell, Sharon Hurt, Stephanie Johnson, and Jeff Yarbro. I have to say, this has been a joy and a pleasure to be a part of this panel, to be a part of this group. You all are rocket and are wonderful. Again, when Christina first asked me to do this, I was a little nervous because I'm shy in front of people and I get nervous. I think y'all don't believe that, I went through all these emotions. First, I was afraid. I was petrified. Kept thinking I could not moderate this panel on time. But I spent so many nights thinking how we treat artists wrong. So I grew strong. I learned how to get along, and so we're here with all these candidates. They just answered all our questions with the focus on the art. They could have easily told us no. They could have said they wouldn't come. But now they're here and they're asking for your vote. We will survive. Yeah. That's all I could get. All right, no more music writing for me. No more music writing for me. I thank you all again, and I'll turn it over.
Thank you so much, Judge Calloway. Thank you again to all of our candidates. I just want to say a couple of quick thank yous before we leave. We had so many volunteers put their time and energy into this event tonight, into publicizing it. For flyer and web design, Joshua Jenkins. Hand design for our Step and Repeat, Kamara Stevens, the lower third graphic. Abby Wesenant, Jason Eskridge, our fabulous DJ, Alex Wong, Baba Musa and Nation Drummers, all of our candidates, and I'm not going to say your names again, but also thank you to your campaign managers, Patrick Lanier with Lip Smacking Food Truck, Pearl Nichols with Urban Juicer. We also want to give a few special thanks to Gretchen James and Ben Schultz and the staff of Nashville Children's Theater. Streaming services, Devin Davila and the staff of Nashville AV. Printing services, Mary Catherine Fleener and staff at RJ Young. Translation services, Lydia Youssef with El Mahaba Center. Community organizing and event production, Miss Christine Hall. Our timekeeper, Michelle Harris. I didn't know we were cousins. With the upcoming artist organization, Alicia Buck, Ms. Rock. Morosic, sis, that's right. Thank you for getting me right together. But I will tell you that she's a fabulous tattoo artist with Queen Bee Ink. I know that. David Plazas with the Tennessee and Nina Covington with Tennessee Art League. Beth English with Nashville Creative Group. Bart Mangrum with Studio 66. Daniel Jones with Kindling Arts. All of our volunteers, thank you so much for showing up for Nashville, for showing up for yourselves. Thank you so much. Now let's go party.